You are listening to the podcast To Be Single or Not to Be by Shanna Montana, a podcast where we talk about the single life, dating, and relationships so you can make a decision at the end of each episode to be single or not to be.
So today's topic is part 2 when it comes to, hang on, I heard noise in the background. Let me say this again. All right, there we go. So today's topic is part 2 of protecting the Black woman. And we felt it was necessary to come back to this conversation because it needs to be a continued conversation that not only we are having, but that the world is having. You know, it's necessary for Black men and Black women. And since this episode has come out, and I'm sure the other ladies who are back on the episode with me, they've been asking themselves the same question, you know, what does this look like for us to really be a part of this change? Mm-hmm. And I've also been I've been asking other men, you know, what does it look like for you to protect the Black woman? And I've been getting some interesting feedback that we're going to talk about today because a conversation that I actually had with someone today made me realize that some men, I'm not going to say all, some men, when it comes to protecting the Black woman, have to do just a better job with the ownership of it and what role they play in some of these scenarios. So we're going to dive into that later on. But right now, I want to kick it off again. We have back to the table. We have Shamika, we have Tori, and we have Kiki. Everybody say hi.
Hey.
So glad to have you ladies back. So we're going to get right to it. So I want to start with what I had a conversation with someone about recently. And so I asked him, I said, you know, when it comes to protecting the Black woman, you know, what does that look like for you? And he posed it back to me, you know, what does it look like for the Black woman to be protected? So we had a dialogue. And then it got to this point where he said, but we all here, and it made my skin crawl. Well, you know, the Black women, sometimes y'all get an attitude, or sometimes y'all do this, or, you know, all the stereotypical things. Right. And so I told him, I heard him out. And then I said, you know, wait right there. I said, you know, I want you to think about this for a moment. And I'm just going to talk about in a relationship realm because I'm like, you know, this is a relationship podcast. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, you have to think about, in this whole conversation, you literally have told me that you didn't show up as your full self to do your job in the past relationships that you were in, and you were part of the reason that they didn't work. Mm-hmm. And I said, throughout that, I said, you have to think about the reason some Black women may have an attitude, say if you're trying to approach her, or may have, you know, what some will call a chip on her shoulder, if you're trying to holler at her and she's like, you know, I just really don't have time for you playing games. You have to think about you as a man, what impact you've had on women's lives when you didn't show up as your full self like you were supposed to in a relationship, and what that did to her long term. So, you know, so I'm like, I'm not saying that, you know, all of that weight falls on the man, but you had an impact. You know, if she showed up as her full self, she thought you all were going in one direction, you showed yourself to be something that you weren't, then yeah, a woman is going to be affected in that way when the next guy comes along. It's up to that man to, not saying he has to break down every wall or barrier that she has. However, it is up to that man to understand where she's coming from, mm-hmm. and try to then show up as he needs to so that cycle is broken.
Yes.
So he ultimately got it once I broke it down in that way. Like, men, you guys just have to do a better job. And when I really asked him, you know, when you're self-admitting that you didn't show up, you know, as great of a quality as a person as you feel you're capable of, you know, allegedly. But when, you know, you didn't show up as your full self. And I asked him, you know, like, why didn't you? And he really didn't have an answer. He was just like, you know, in so many words, he literally was like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the conversation went a whole lot of ways, but what it boiled down to was he did not have the answer, Sway. So I'm going to ask this question of you ladies. Why do you think sometimes men don't show up to these situations as their full selves?
I think that they're not required to. I think they should, yes. But right. I think it's easy for them not to have to, and so they don't. Yeah. So, and that goes back to where women put up with too much, like just to have him in the picture. You just don't apply pressure to what you deserve, you know?
Right.
So if you don't, you're not going to get it. In a lot of sense, unless he's ready.
Yeah, and that's the other part of, he has to be ready. And you know, sometimes men don't. It's one, like what you just said, women don't require it enough. And sometimes they aren't ready and they think they are, and then when they show up to a woman who is ready, it to them it feels, they're intimidated, or to them it feels like she's giving me an ultimatum, she's giving it's too much pressure, it's too much I gotta do. Well, you said you were ready for this,
right?
Like, what's really good, you know? So I think the other side of that is more men need to do some self-evaluation. And I get it, you know, as they say men are sexual creatures, you know, so they it might be just after one thing. If you after one thing, just say that. But if you know, because it's some women that's okay with that. But if you are dealing with a woman who is ready for a relationship, marriage, whatever the case may be, then you know, if you don't want to be around here like Diddy, 50 still talking about I'm somebody's boyfriend, then you know, you need to do better. So what do you, Tori and Mika, what do you all think about that?
I was actually going to say the same thing. It's just not required of them. And even when it is, when they're not ready, they're just going to find someone else who, or just bow out. So, it's just a matter of everybody being on the same page, requiring men in general to do what they should do. But unfortunately, it's always going to be that. It's always going to be an element of someone is accepting something that someone else is not willing to do with. So,
exactly.
Yep.
I think they covered it, Shayna.
Okay, that works for me. So I just, in concluding that section, I just really think that it's up to us. We have to do a better job at holding them accountable. But I think that men just have to start doing more of the self work and realizing that I always say that relationships are work. It can be fun work. It can be easy work, but it's work. And you have to be willing to, like we show up to our jobs every day. You got to be willing to show up to that relationship every single day. And when you say that to people, sometimes they're like, what? Like, you have to put context behind that. Like, show up to work every day. Yeah, this relationship is a job. Like, you have to show up like you show up to the corporate America. You got to show up to here, to this, to my life every single day as your full self, you know? And I get that every day won't be amazing, but most days should be if you want to do the work here, you know, if you want to be a part of it. So that's my 2 cents on that one. Now I want to get back. I'll go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, so I do want to add to it, just not from the perspective, I guess, of the man.
Okay.
But saying that, you know, in that conversation that you were having with the gentleman, did he stop to think, you know, well, if I'm not showing up as my full self and she's doing more of the work, like, this is what kills me. How can, as a man, you expect for a woman to make you feel wanted, needed, etc.? You're not giving her the room to not have to do all the work.
Right. Okay.
So how do I give you the leeway or even the trust to take care of something that if you're not showing up as your full self, how am I supposed to know you can do it?
Exactly.
Girl.
Like, in a relationship where we ain't married, there's only so many leaps of faith I'm willing to take, and that ain't one of them.
Right.
Like,
for real.
You expecting me to give you a parachute, like, to expect you to have the parachute and jump out this plane with you, but I ain't seen you with no parachute the whole time we've been
right,
here.
Right.
Showed me nothing.
Nothing. That's I think that comes down to when they say you have to stop being out here doing wife things when we're just a girlfriend. You know, or doing wife things when we are, you know, in a situation that hasn't become a relationship. But ultimately, no, he didn't have a real answer for it. He just was like, he knows that he wants to do better in his next relationship, that he wants to, you know, pour more into it. Like he said, he wants a family, he wants to be married. I'm like, but in this conversation of even talking to you right now, I'm no therapist, I'm not, you know, a clinician, but you're not ready to be marrying nobody. I was like, you, a woman would be a fool to sign up to marry you right now.
That's like saying I want to be a millionaire, but you're not doing any of the work.
Any of the work.
You just want to win the lottery.
You just
that, or I'm supposed to expect that one of your family members, when they pass, we're gonna get the money. Like,
or something. Like, he couldn't grasp it. And I'm just like, no, the tools that you need in your toolkit to show up fully, as we're talking about, you do not have them. And then he's like, I do have them. I'm like, you have not displayed them even in this conversation. Like you are not even putting the right words together, where if I was a woman on the other end of this, to trust anything that you're telling me. That's like, as I always say, my old basketball coach used to say, Shayna, don't be hoping the ball gonna go in. No, it's gonna go in. If I practice enough, my chances are higher. If you are showing yourself to be this person versus this is the kind of person that would say, and I think we've probably all dealt with these in previous relationships, the person always says what they're going to do, and then you never see it. Right. And then when you bring it back around to ask them, okay, so you said you were going to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to do it. Shit. Like, what? Like,
you the one with the attitude.
I got an attitude. Okay. You mad at me? So now it's like a never-ending cycle. But you're right. If you are dealing with somebody and you have not seen this, because I have not seen a parachute. Why am I about to jump out this airplane with you? Like, you've shown me that you won't save me, so I'm not going to trust that I can be saved. So yeah, it's I think in those situations is what it reminded me of, and it's around like what we're talking about today. You have to have a lot of continued conversations with people. And I think that some people sometimes feel like it's monotonous, so they'll be like, Shayna, we already talked about this. Yeah, we talked about it 6 months ago. You still ain't give me an answer. Like, so like, let's talk about this again in more depth with more detail, because like when we first talked about it, we might have been dating like 3 months in, so I kind of let it slide, even though you didn't give me full answer. We now 6 months in, I need more than what you gave me 3 months ago,
because you had time to think about it.
And you should have been thinking about it. So some people will be like, I ain't thought about this since we last talked about it, and that's terrible.
But what's funny about that too is, especially when you're talking about relationship questions, half the time if I give you a question and we quote unquote giving you time to think about it, we giving you answers before we ask you.
Right.
Like, we done gave you the answer. Waiting to see, did you pick up on, were you listening to me? Because when I ask you again, you already got the key. You know exactly what to say.
Right. And you are 100% right. Gave you the game, free game. I literally had somebody pull it, like talking to a guy, and I was like, so what does it look like to protect the Black woman? And he's like, somebody I know said blah blah blah. He gonna quote something I said on the podcast. I'm like, he's like, well, you said, like, I'm like, okay, I see you listening to what I'm saying out here. He like, some girl said that, I don't know who, but somebody said. I'm like, all right, I see you using my own words against me, long as you know. So you got to see if they paying attention. Like you said, we get the answers to the test. Where are you paying attention every single time? So in regards to the Black woman, and the protection of her, I want to get into the conversation of our strength, because I believe we are, some of the strongest creatures on the planet, even if everybody else doesn't see it that way. But when it comes to our strength, you guys know we were in a text message thread for the listeners, and we have been sending each other just different things that we have been seeing on social media that were representing what we were talking about in not being protected. And there was this meme that came out of a Black woman in some water, and she was drowning, and one of her hands was up, and literally somebody reached out and high-fived her hand while drowning and said, "You're so strong. I support you. Good job," whatever the case may be. Basically was giving her encouraging words as she's dying, basically, as she's drowning. So why do you think, why do people allow us as Black women to be the ones who suffer so much? Like, why is our pain okay to deal with?
Man, I think this is such a cycle. And it started so long ago. Like, when you look at where some of modern medicine comes from, especially in the field of gynecology, like, it was built on the backs of Black women. And not only that, because we were thought to have this pain threshold or not able to feel pain at all, like, we literally were experimenting on like lab rats, and not giving medicine or anything to numb the pain. And then when you going into looking into things that are happening today, and I don't want to skip too far ahead into the podcast, like, you see it being repetitive, like the same cycles are repeating themselves. This ideology that for some reason, like, we are stronger than life, like, you can do so much to me because I can bear the pain, instead of seeing me as your fellow human, your fellow mankind. And treating me with humanity and compassion.
That's how the compassion should come in, where it's like, okay, even if I could bear the pain, should I? Like, just because I bear the pain, you just gonna watch me bleed to death? You gonna watch me drown?
So that makes sense. But why is it that, like, it's so true? It is a cycle. It's been repeated over and over. why is the cycle not changing? Because even if we can bear it, why are we still in the same place we were hundreds of years ago?
Because
they gave us a cape. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Because they gave us a cape and we had to figure out what was the best thing to do with it. We couldn't burn it, so we had to figure out how to wear it and make it work for us. Yeah. But in doing so, we also are repeating the cycle for ourselves. It's an internalized message that as a Black woman, I have to be a strong woman. I saw my grandma do it. I saw my mom do it. And even in 2-parent households, to a certain extent, even my friends who grew up in functional households still have a narrative, to a certain extent, that a Black woman, like the Black woman in my family, a strong Black woman, and endured a certain amount of pain, even in healthy relationships.
Right. Mm-hmm. And to answer your question, Shayna, additionally, you said why isn't it not changing? Yeah. Like the things that happened back in the day, specifically in the medical field, they're being taught this stuff in school. Yep. So it's practically, it's systematic. Again, we come to that systematic racism or systematic issues that it runs deep. It's hard to come out of, and especially when they're still present day learning this stuff in school. And they're following these same doctors that experimented on Black women back in the day. So it's kind of hard to get out of unless you have enough sense to know, like, this is not moral. Like, this is not right. In addition to that, you got it. We make it look good. They don't see people don't see where you incessantly, fervently praying at night. They don't see where you're crying at night. They don't see where you have sleepless nights. All they see is that whatever it is getting handled and you on to the next. That's all they see. They don't see what it takes before this is accomplished. You don't see what all I'm doing at home or behind closed doors, you know?
Yeah, you're right. We make
and even if we go even if we go into microaggressions and we talk about something such as, like, so simple as boundaries in the workplace, in particular, if one of our counterparts would walk in and say, I have a lot going on, I can't take on this project, it'll automatically be, who else can do it?
Oh yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
Say we got too much going on, I can't handle it. It's a million and one things given back to us about, oh, well, maybe you should reprioritize, or where are your priorities? No is a complete sentence, except for when it comes from our mouth. It's no longer being, assertive, it's aggressive.
But we have to take part in changing that narrative also, because Shamika, everybody is 1,000% correct. But what I notice right now in me growing and learning, I'll just say this: I recently went out for a position within my company and I got offered the role, but the money was not what I wanted. So I countered back. A lot of times we don't speak up, we don't counter back. They came back still with the number I didn't want. I didn't take the position. And I was at complete peace with it, because I know when and how I'm supposed to move. The same is going forward. It's been things within my role. I've been in the same role for almost 10 years. So a lot of what I do is almost like automation. I just know how to do it. But that doesn't mean I should keep doing it as we bring new leadership on. So recently I've started to redelegate tasks to other managers. Hey, I no longer want to do this. Can you do it? Because at that point, and they've been taking it on. So it's up to me at that point to say, what I can do, because even my manager knows, me being one of the most senior leaders in my group, she always comes to me and asks me, Shayna, would you like to do so-and-so? Guess what Shayna says more times than not? No, thank you. I would not. Because a lot of times, because when we are so strong, I could do what she's asking me to do. But it's like 6 other pilgrims that you can ask to do the same thing. So, you want to come and ask me first. And it's like, my team is larger. So it's all about us recognizing that, the world may perceive, they do perceive things as with us. When we say no, it is aggressive. When somebody else sees it, they're just having a hard time right now. But I think that it's up to us to start changing that narrative, as we talk about, with us just changing our answers, being okay with no, and knowing how to professionally say no. And then you perceive it as you may, because ultimately, I know in my world, I always keep what I like to call my HR hat on. So I know ultimately, if somebody wanted to report something I said or done, I know my job is not in jeopardy because I've done nothing wrong. So I think it's up to it's up to us to start doing things differently in those areas and recognize, yes, I'm a strong Black woman. That is how I've gotten to where I am. I do wear that as a badge of honor. However, my strength is going to look different these days, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. I know when to pull my card and when to pull back.
Right. And believe it or not, Shayna, they are aware that you are aware of your power, and and because of that, you are considered intimidating. You're considered intimidating from the standpoint of a negative. negative kind of energy.
Yeah.
Because believe me, I've been through the same thing, and I make it known that I know my rights, and I know that some shit is going wrong up in here. And you know, to a certain extent, I ain't gonna bust it wide open when I go in there, you know, but I'm definitely gonna, you know, you gonna notice a change in me. I'm a backup where I'm usually a team player. I jump in and get it done. That's I'm not gonna play I really don't like company politics.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I almost feel like I have to.
You have to.
And
you
so,
do.
And so, yeah, that anytime I hear that in my evaluation, I literally have to ask them at the point, what does that mean exactly? Give me an example of what does that mean? I said, because if I'm pushing back or trying to push my employee to do better, to me, that's employee development, not intimidation. Now, if you are intimidated, that's a personal problem. That has nothing to do with me, because y'all don't intimidate me. Like, quote for quote, that's the conversation I've had. Like, y'all, like, I'm not intimidated. I'm not intimidated about what you do. So, and to me, that's a personal thing.
It's personal, Kiki, and it comes down to, this is something else, because I've had counterparts who have literally, we've sat in a meeting, say with senior leadership, and they've sat there and, you know, not said a word, or they clapped and thank you, gave all these praises. Soon as the conference call ends, they are talking cash money shit about the people. And guess what Shayna does? I sit right there in silence like I'm a mime.
Girl, literally, that happens to me all the time. And I just be saying, like, you want me to talk shit about them to you so you can run back to them?
Yes. I don't trust you.
Politics, I don't get involved. Nope.
Not at all. So Tori, this is kind of an area that you have, I would say, maybe experience or some knowledge in. You know, how would you say, you know, other than what Kiki and I have mentioned, like, people can handle themselves in the workplace where they feel protected, but they also feel like they can be themselves? Because you all have probably seen the meme that was on social media, like, as a Black woman in work, I may have to watch how I wear my hair. I have to watch how I talk. I have to watch how I dress, those things, which makes sense, you know, to some extent. But, you know, when you have to think twice about, do I want to get these dreadlocks because I don't know how they're going to perceive them? Do I want to get yellow on my nails because I don't know how they're going to perceive them? You know, if I slip up in a meeting and I say ain't instead of I could have, you know, are they going to look at me even though I hear my other counterparts speak phonetically wrong or use the wrong wording all the time? But if I say, you know, then I'm ghetto. She said ain't, you know, so, you know, Tori, what would you say? How can we stay authentic to ourselves in these workplace environments?
I think it's a lot like what Kiki was saying. You just have to know that you have that power and to just act in that. Because at the end of the day, they are intimidated by you. I even have a boss. Well, I don't even know if I said it, because some people.
Once upon a time, I had a boss.
Once upon a time, I had a boss that would have inappropriate conversations with me. Like, I mean, to the context of, she wants to talk about the differences between black hair and white, like white hair. Things of that nature. And I think a lot of times, just people who are passively racist or passively prejudiced, they are expecting certain things out of you. So when you hit them with something they're not expecting, when you hit them with knowledge that they don't expect you to have, or there's behaviors that that's opposite of what they are assuming, I think it already knocks them, and it places them in a position to know how to handle you from that point.
So how did you handle that when that previous boss wanted to have those conversations? Like,
didn't saying it, because that wasn't the point of the meeting. We're in here to talk about
right.
Straight to the point.
So you just reroute that. I rerouted it, and I was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, yeah, this is how we braid our hair. So, anyways, about the meeting, like, because at that point, you know, now that's a boundary for me. We can't talk about that.
Not gonna do it.
We're not discussing black hair. We're not discussing
black anything, because I don't want to know anything about your people.
So. I'm not a black spokesperson. I'm here to give you skill and quality. Now, when the time is here for education, for me to put you on game, sure, but this is not the time.
Not right now.
I've given one word answer to that, like the same as yours, and make sure I'm exiting. I'm on my way to, you know, how did you get your hair like so long? That's not your hair, is it? Some days they might get it. Yeah, it is, and I'm exiting, like, you know, and going.
That's the most.
Like, it's a one word answer, and I'm out. Like,
the key is to just basically, like, one word, be as politically correct as you can be. And move on, because at that point they're really testing you. They're expecting you to behave a certain way. So let me see, you know, how black, quote unquote black, she can be. Like, say to this? What's she gonna do this? Like, no, you're not gonna take me out of my element because at the end of the day, I'm here for money.
Right.
You're not gonna mess up my check.
We're not gonna be friends. Yeah.
We're not friends. Like, I'm here for this, and I might take your job, but I'm gonna put you on.
Yeah, exactly. And I think all of that is so true. And we really just have to know, how to handle these situations to protect yourself in the workplace. You know your strengths, if they feel that they are intimidated by you, many times it may be because we are intelligent, we stand out, we know how to get the job done. But it's all about what you said in creating boundaries, because I used to be that person that would always a project, I'll do it. Now I am the last person on the list. Don't ask me to do nothing extra, because
especially you ain't changed my money.
Man, what? I done learned that quick. I'm not doing nothing beyond what is required until I know it's going to benefit me.
Yep.
All right. So tell us this. What would you say right now in regards to, how Black women are viewed, since we're talking about, the suffering, we've gotten to where it came from. How can we start to really, on our end, change that narrative, like one step at a time? Like, what's something that women can start to do today to change that narrative of our suffering being okay?
I've kind of had some conversations with some of my clients. So taking it out of just like things that I talk with people about on a daily basis. I've had that conversation with some of my clients about, in order to change a family narrative, you gotta make those things that were once done in the dark be done in the light. Like, don't wait for them to come to the light. We model for our children and for people who are watching this how we are to be treated. We also model for them what it is that we accept and what it is we can handle. And I've had a lot of cases where moms are like, I don't want my child to think this is okay. Okay, well, the first step is, when you're around your child and something is said that clearly hurts their feelings and yours too, don't just shut down. And then you're noticing, oh, well, my child doesn't cry, etc. And then it's like, oh, I think I created a problem. Like, start to show emotion. Even if you don't feel comfortable crying, give it verbal, like a verbal life. Say, this really hurts, or I know that hurt it. Like, I feel it too. Like making it okay that, I feel the pain just like you do, especially with everything that's going on in the world around us right now.
Right.
Like, you're afraid and mommy's afraid too, but guess what? Mommy's not going to let anything happen to us. Like, it doesn't mean you have to seem weak just because you're saying you're afraid or you feel
you're being
hurt.
vulnerable.
You're being vulnerable, but you're also letting it be known, I can feel these things and still show up. Because that's the thing. It's not giving up strength to be weak. It's giving strength to our vulnerability and letting it be known, I'm showing up in the pain, but please know, now that I've told you I'm in pain, I'm expecting for you to show up and alleviate some of my
pain. Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think another part of that goes into, and this is across the board, because we know that we talked about last episode, toxic masculinity, how, young boys are taught not to cry, not to show emotion. But I think Black women have to be aware of how that affects us and children and everybody around us as well, because we are human. Like you just said, Shamika, we have emotions. It's okay to be vulnerable. And I think to add to that, I think that we have to constantly just stay educated and educate those around us, but also remain teachable. I think that, it's something that we have to learn and grow from, because these are right now, as you said, historical times. These are times a lot of us have never seen. And so I think it's just the climate of the world that we have to just make sure that we, again, are teaching people how to treat us, but also showing that, when you are treated that way, this is how I want to be treated, but also not allowing people to treat us. If something crazy is happening, to speak up about it. Don't just say, nothing's going to change, or, they didn't mean anything by it. No, you have to stop in that moment. If it's a teachable moment, you need to do some teaching. And that comes down to whether it is your partner, a friend, a family member, a coworker, whatever the case may be. You have to know when to step up, because I've heard, since a lot of conversations have been happening around racism and things, and you hear some people who are just really ignorant to certain things. And it may be something you don't know where the ignorance has come from, whether it was, lack of being taught, or they just chose to be ignorant to it because the knowledge is there. But in those moments, just depending on the situation, you have to be able to teach those people and understand that everybody may not walk away with a message, but if you are trying to teach, you are doing your part. And I think that goes a long way. Now, this is going to be one to kind of lighten, I don't want to say lighten the mood really, but I want to throw this out here because these are some things that have been kind of in celebrity news and on social media, the gram and stuff like that. I wanted to get you all's opinion on them because a lot of people have had things to say, or in some areas, not so much. So were you all aware that, Megan Thee Stallion got shot in the foot?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it was alleged out there that Tory Lanez shot her. We don't know. His camp hasn't said anything. She hasn't said anything in regards to who did it. However, we didn't really see any celebrity outcry about, her being shot. We literally went from this girl got shot to now her new music video is out, and that's what everybody's talking about. So like nothing in between. But this girl literally got shot, and I don't care if she did get shot in the foot. Getting shot is still life threatening.
It's traumatic.
It's traumatic. So why do you think, and celebrities tend to, and it may just be for their own celebrity reasons, when something kind of happens to somebody, like if Beyonce got shot, every celebrity in the world would have had an Instagram post about, I'm praying for you. I'm here for you, sis. Everybody would have had something. But Meg, we didn't see any celebrities say anything at all, and they're vocal about everything. So why do you all think that is? And that's a great example of a Black woman not being protected. What do y'all think about all this silence around this?
I think because even with Tamar's situation, it was like a lot of people were writing like praying for you.
Yeah,
I think because celebrities are humans too, and just to be devil's advocate. So if there anything like just me personally, I'm confused. Like what? Like
confused as far as what?
Like okay, of course. Like I didn't write an Instagram post, but I'm like, I hope she's doing well. I can tune into her lives to make sure she, whatever she's talking about. But it's like when it happened, it was like, wait, what just happened? Like,
it was a very muddy kind of situation.
Yeah.
However, my thing is, at the end of the day, even if we didn't know the details, we did know for sure that this girl got shot. We knew that for sure. So why do you all think like no celebrities out here have advocated for her or post or say anything?
I almost think, I almost think that there's judgment involved because Megan Stallion come across as a hard hood,
savage
female. Again, that strong personality, and I almost think some people were probably like, "Well, yeah, that was bound to happen." You know what I'm saying? And that's like cold, honest, blunt truth.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. A lot of it was like, yeah, that's that lifestyle you rap about.
And now it's coming to life.
Right. So I think that, and then on the flip side, I know for me, again, I don't really know what was the reason. Like I like to understand or know, like why did he shoot? Were y'all dating? Like or did y'all have a disagreement? Like was it an accident? Like
the context.
It was, I almost thought it was just an accident. The gun went off, but I'm hearing like it was more than that, but nobody is
saying anything.
No, not for real. So,
and you are on to something with that. I think it was a lot of judgment. I think that people assume, you live this savage life, #savage summer. And, you out here just wilding. And that's what happens when you wild out, oh, well, next, like they don't care because they feel like she is a girl who is out here. They feel like she's asking for what she received. And that's insane to me.
I heard that too. A lot of victim blaming, kind of like supposedly they are dating. So I've even heard someone say like, "Oh, well, I bet they was in there fighting, like boxing. Like, why they gotta be?
Wow.
Why she gotta be boxing? Because she looks strong.
Why she gotta be fighting? And then Tory is like 310.
So he is little.
Grab the gun, but I'm saying like, why did that have to be the narrative that you made up when there is no nobody literally knows
what happened?
Right
and
now.
That says something else too, because I feel like the celebrity world is tighter than we like to think. And that says something else too, because you guys know that they leak and tell and go live everything. And they are not at a Beyonce, Jay-Z level where everything's kept private. Right. So how is it that the girl who tells all her business, no one knows what happened? I feel like that's also a part of that world where, there's judgment going on, but also they put out a cease and desist on everybody. Like, y'all better not say nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that one, because there's so many rumors around what happened or could have happened. Even down to the one where Tory, like it's like you said, they was like, oh, something happened, they were boxing, he shot her because she bigger than him.
Yeah.
But even that narrative that like in order to get a woman off of you as a man, you gotta pull out
shoot her.
What it's like you bringing a gun to a fist fight?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what was your homies at? Like,
right.
what was the other people that could have pulled her off you if that's truly what
it's
happened?
a whole problem.
Like, so, like, why was that the logical thing to do? Especially if all of y'all at this quote unquote gathering are celebrities in Corona times, if I may add.
Right. Right.
So
no mask.
all y'all in this area, which I think may add to that, because with the way things are going and people aren't supposed to be in numbers and etc. So now you gotta, if we start speaking up about who was there and who saw, then we finna pull out all these numbers about this illegal house party that went on, and like some criminal activity happened. Like that's a lot to pile on.
Yeah, a whole lot.
So I feel like the silence has meaning. Like it may be silence to us because it ain't no public post, but I'm pretty sure it went silent in them text message threads.
Right.
And
It's silent to the public, and that's it. It's silent to us, but I think it speaks volumes because, you know, you have the new resolution of the hip hop advocates like the Killer Mikes and the TIs and stuff like that. And, you know, they have something to say, but you all didn't say anything when it came to protecting this woman. And even to protect her in a way of, even if you don't know the details, to say, you know, keep her in prayer. You know, we're going to get to the bottom of this, whatever the case may be. So I think that just shows somebody really in the spotlight and how they aren't protected. Going back to, you know, little old me, you know, how I would get protected, you know.
Like the boys club, because at the end of the day, Megan is very popular, but she's still like the newbie.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So it almost like goes to like, oh girl, like you're not even a part of the club and you got all this foolishness popping off. Like,
yeah, like we haven't even really let you in yet.
Yeah.
You cutting up like this. So that's interesting. We'll have to see how that one plays out. So the next one is, you all saw the video of the Tahiri and the Marriage Boot Camp episode. And for the listeners that didn't, like, there was the clip first came out. Basically, they were sitting at on the TV show Marriage Boot Camp, and they were sitting around in the boot camp room with all the couples. And Marriage Boot Camp, for those that don't know, is a show where people, they all in fake relationships, but it's people that's, you know, allegedly there to work on a marriage or relationship. And so they're in the boot camp room, and Tahiri and her boyfriend, they're talking, and he jumps up and starts choking her. And the only person that runs over to her quote unquote rescue is the host of the show. He gets her off of him, but the rest of the couple sitting there, some don't move, some look shocked, some like, what's going on? Some look like they could care less, you know. And the context before that was she threw some apples at him in his face, like really hard. So they have a toxic relationship anyway, it's clear. So what did you all think about that? The fact of like, this woman is getting choked out and like nobody, you know, other than the one person that did, like nobody even like flinched.
So I'm gonna be honest with y'all and tell y'all exactly what I told him in the text message thread. I couldn't be in no room with none of my crew and everybody not getting up, from the women and the men.
Right.
Forget that. Oh, I can't believe none of the men stood up. First of all, if these your homegirls, why? Because I can remember plenty of times in undergrad where it was like, oh, you know, we ain't going to, you know, to this spot because we know they acting a clown. Or, hey, if you truly got to go there, let us know what time you leaving. Because if dude put his hands on you, we all need to be there. Like, understanding, like, nah, man, like, because that brings back the idea that, like, a man got to stand up for a woman when a man jump in. Like, if his dude's acting flagrant, where your girls at?
Yeah.
So my response to that was, I don't understand how the whole room went on.
I agree, because
like, what? It was people sitting right next to them. Didn't move.
Should have been on his back like a spider monkey. Like,
one leap is all it would take.
Like, what?
I was taken aback, but like, it speaks to two things. I know reality show. When I was about to get married, I was actually gonna do Bridezillas. And when I say like they wanted us to redo everything, like I had to walk into Afro Angelo 8 times. And so I'm like, when I think of reality, I don't even watch reality shows anymore, because I'm like, is this the first time this happened? Like, did they make them re-record the scene and tell everybody not to hop up? Because in my mind, I'm like, it's the way nobody.
I thought about that too. The fact the way nobody moved. I thought about, was it a little scripted?
Yeah, I'm like, nobody moved, and this man just jumped on them. And then too, I was thinking like, because when you have like some friends, we have this circle where it's like, oh, one friend we know for a fact is crazy. So if she tell me she arguing with like her man, it's like, okay, sis, but what you do?
Yeah.
How many times has this happened off camera? that they're so immune to it. It's kind of like, oh, we just gonna let him choke her.
Yeah.
But when I saw because I saw the part where he choked her out first,
right?
It ran me hot, like just watching where nobody did anything. And then when later on, I end up getting or seeing the other piece where she threw stuff at him first. So in that room, whether it was either scripted, that's an option, or they could have been like, well, shit, she just hit him in the face about an hour ago with that apple.
Right. And them
like,
apples were hard,
get involved
too.
in that, type of thing.
So but even on the apple scene, nobody did anything when she got hit.
Right. And I almost feel like he reacted in that meeting because earlier he did nothing but took it. And so he was like, nah, man, they're going to think I'm weak. He done probably talked to himself like, nah, man, I got to do something. Because it was she had barely started talking and he was choking her out. I was like, what the hell? Like,
it came out of nowhere. But that video that you sent us that showed the earlier scene, the woman even said it. Sometimes when somebody does something to you, you probably after shouldn't be near them because you're sitting there talking to yourself. Like he kept saying, like, you don't care about me. You did this to me. You embarrassed me. You hurt me. And you keep playing all this stuff in your head. It's kind of like if you have an argument with somebody, you know how you kind of play the situation back in your head. You get madder and madder.
Yep.
And then when you see them, it's like a boom, just like an explosion. And it's like, I think that was part of, I think it was a mixture of TV. They probably did tell them not to get up. It probably was a mixture of him just being angry. Like whether she was talking or not, he just wanted to go choke her. Like,
right. That's what I felt like. Like I felt like what she said, it was already, he was already on the edge. Like, and she just said one word and he was on her like white on rice, Yes. So, and then on the other side of that too, you got people that don't want to get involved in other people's relationship because you beat him, knocked him out, fought, helped her fight him, in the next week they hand in hand and she's mad at you. So you well, what the fuck? I just swung off on this nigga because because I was protecting you, and now both of y'all mad at me, like
and now y'all back together, so I'm mad too. I'm big mad. So
you say I'm mad too.
You start feeling some kind of way. It's like relationship stuff. You have to be mindful, even if it is, domestic disputes. You have to be mindful. And that's why as you get older, you learn. I never give people relationship advice or talk about people's relationships unless it's solicited. Unless you ask me what do I think, I'm not telling you anything about your man. Because we all have been there, done that, seen it, got the T-shirt.
Yep.
You say what you got to say the next week, Becky and Bobby back together. And now you looking crazy, and now Bobby don't like you because Becky told him what you said about him.
And Becky not gonna talk to you either.
She done too.
Been there, done it. That's why I don't.
So I don't get involved. So that was an interesting one. My hope is that No, go ahead.
I'll say I want to advocate for. I don't believe in women putting their hands on men.
Oh, for sure.
Vice versa. Like nobody putting their hands on anybody.
Yeah.
But
or throwing apples at men.
No. As a sister, an auntie, and a future mother, my son will know. Don't let nobody put their hands on you.
Yeah.
But we hopefully we can find ways to teach him. Like if it's a girl, like
don't knock her out.
Don't knock her out. Grab
or choke her.
Or immediately let the people around know, like, hey, that's why you keep a couple homegirls. Hey, I'm gonna need one. Can y'all come handle this? Like, I can't touch it, but
me.
And get her. And the first time you see that, if a woman is willing to jump up and she want to choke you out or punch you, whatever, you need to nip that in the bud. Like, I feel like a conversation, let it, like, if she can't get herself together after that first time, she do it the second time, let her go.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not now. I don't want to say especially if you ain't done nothing. If she ain't caught you in the bed with a woman, then she gonna come. She need to jump on your head. But if we all just get into a regular argument and she swing on you, no,
it's a whole problem.
Yeah, that's character.
Yeah, call me. I'm coming over there.
So, that's what I'm saying. Call your homegirl.
Call your mama. Call me.
Right. I tell people all the time I fight kids and grown people.
Right. So kids, old people, anybody
I fight
can
them
get
all.
it. You want to fight? You go.
You and a grown you get beat up at any time.
So yes, we have to teach our men that, but women too. We are not an advocate of women putting their hands on people or just being violent. You gotta grow up. Like it's almost y'all. Do y'all watch the show on TV One called For My Man?
Yes,
Pieces. Yeah, I see
Oh my
episodes.
God. It's a show basically what it sounds like, women doing dumb shit for their man.
Mhm.
And literally I was watching an episode today where the woman, it always comes down to, I'm gonna kill my husband for this life insurance because I want to go be with my boyfriend. And I brought that up because I'm like, never have I ever wanted to leave somebody, and my first thought was, let me kill him.
Yes, what is wrong with you?
I'm like, what is wrong with these people? I've never got in an argument with somebody, and my thought was, let me go get a knife and stab them. Like, that violence just does not come in my mind. If anything, I'm thinking,
the fact of like, why you think you can't just leave? Like, why?
Yes, why do you have to kill them?
If you need to go,
leave.
Shows like that and Snap, I just be like, I'm so confused. But like, it's like a chemical imbalance because it takes somebody that's real life, like not okay,
nuts.
Like, I think I just want to kill them.
Yeah, like I think that's the best result. Let's just kill them. Let's not leave. Let's just kill them. What? Let's say one of my friends, I'm gonna kill my boy. What I'm about to leave. But because I'm not gonna be an accessory to no stupid shit you about to do. Right. And so I'm gonna tell your nigga, hey, you might want to get out of here.
You. Hey, look out.
Run for your life.
Right. Leave today.
Right.
Leave with me, actually.
Right. Because she might try to kill us both. Like, were you saying something, Mika?
No, I was saying that I mean, for your man, I don't know. I can't get with I understand, but then I don't. Like, I understand the psychology side of for your man. Like, they're basically trying to say how impressionable people are when they like find somebody that gives them something they've never had before.
Oh, child.
They always start the story out talking about like what that man gave the woman that she never had or thought she never had. I mean, chemical imbalance, or we talking about this strong woman narrative and Snap. Like, a lot of times they be taking beyond the point of strong, like being strong. Like, they be done endure some things, and it like it's literally like that's the only way they see out.
That's their last resort.
I've seen some episodes of Snap where I'm like, they can get off.
It was in the heat of the passion.
Yeah,
like. I don't know, like that could be self-defense. And if you think about it, like everybody around her knew she done blew the whistle, but wasn't nobody helping. So what else she?
Yeah,
I get it. So yeah, we just gonna say at the end of the day, don't try to kill your mate. You know, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. At the end of the day, it ain't worth it. On that note, we'll be right back. We are now introducing a new segment to the podcast. This is called Living Single. We want you guys to send in any of your relationship questions, if you need advice, or if you just want to give feedback on the show on a topic that we've discussed. Feel free to DM them on Instagram to Shanna Montana, or you can inbox me on Facebook, Living Single, and we'll definitely be touching on these topics on each episode going forward. All right. So as we were saying before, we've talked a little bit about, just making sure we just say no to fighting men. We want to get back to something in regards to the protection of Black women and talk a little bit about, and Shamika, I'm going to lean on you for this, Black women and mortality rates around childbirth, because I know we've been seeing more of this in the news, on social media, just in regards to, and I know Beyonce came out and talked about it, Serena Williams talked about it, just how Black women are dying at a much higher rate. Black and brown women of color are dying at a much higher rate than white women. And we're supposed to be, in the United States, the mecca of health and things of that nature. We have the ability to have all these resources, but we're still dying. And then, I know Serena talked about how, I believe she might have been suffering from blood clots or something was going on with her, and they didn't believe her. And Beyonce has something else going on. And that just tells me these are women that are powerful. They have all this money, all these resources, and they're still suffering. So imagine a woman that's on Medicaid, because, they already judge you for coming in, being on government assistance, So Shamika, what is going on around that? Like, why is this happening? Has it been happening and it's just becoming news for us?
So it's been happening.
Okay.
It's actually been in the news. I think it just depends on us when we become aware of what's happening around us.
Okay.
And for this particular issue, I think for us, it's not until we hit the age where either we're giving birth or we know people who giving birth, and it's like, oh, like this is something we actually got to be concerned about. Like, you might actually go into the hospital and not come back.
Yeah.
Like, or you might not even make it to the hospital because they haven't noticed the signs of preeclampsia, or they're not noticing that you having gestational diabetes and your blood pressure way higher than what it's supposed to be. So yeah, Black women are 2 to 4 times more likely to die than our counterparts from child-related complications. That literally, like, according to the science, is not just talking about during childbirth, but up to a year after giving birth to the child.
Wow, okay.
Like, complications related to that, which is why it's also important for us to make sure we go in for our 6-week checkups. Like, yes, babies need to go to the doctor, but once you give birth, you need to make sure you go get that checkup for yourself as well.
Right.
Also, the mental health concerns. Like, it's great, and y'all know I'm an advocate for therapy all day long. But that's also why your mental health professional has to be aware of what is going on in terms of, is what I'm seeing something that is truly something that talking with me and sitting with me is going to help, or do I need to be referring you to an MD for medicine or even just another consult because the issues that you're talking about aren't in your head.
Right.
This isn't a concern of you having intrusive thoughts. Like, you're truly concerned for your safety because the pain that you're feeling is real. And I think that's part of it too, because it then goes from, okay, I believe you, the pain is real, but I also think it's just in your head, or you're having some type of delusions, or is this psychosis? Like, there's so many things when it comes to childbirth that the pain and other things that are being felt could be labeled under. So it's really important that, one, we learn our bodies,
right?
Because for a lot of young women, we didn't know, like, we aren't properly educated on our bodies, from giving parts nicknames to, you don't need to know about this until you're older.
Yep.
Well, life happens, sis, big mom, every day. I need to know about this stuff before it gets to the point where it happens. Because when it happens, I need to know what's happening.
Right.
And if you haven't told me ahead of time, then I don't know. And I'm dependent on you. And you only going off the limited knowledge you got because it happened to somebody else. And you have to take what somebody else told you about that situation.
Yeah.
So, to answer the question, no, it's not you.
You've answered it greatly.
Yeah.
Yes, it's still been going on. And to touch on the point about Beyonce and Serena, Black women with PhDs and MDs, like doctors, are still at a higher rate of expectancy to actually die or suffer from childbirth-related consequences than our counterparts with a high school diploma.
Really? Why?
Why is that?
Yes, because it's systemic racism in the system. The system is failing us. That is not one of those things of, oh, you're not eating healthy. Like, especially when you hear statisticians that will tell you, oh, well, from my research, the narrative that I'm drawing is that they're unhealthy. Wow. That they're okay, well, but you're not accounting for the Black woman who's been a vegan her whole life and working out, and she still ended up with asthma. She still had complications in her first 2 births. Or the woman that literally has already had 3 healthy children, but she died giving birth to the 4th one.
Oh my God.
And we have recently.
But hang on, I want to interject and ask, but how does that
correlate?
Systemic rate that correlate like with the degrees? Like, how is it that somebody with more education, like, how's that correlate?
Is it the stress level is higher with the more educated women than?
Oh no, it's this. So it's to say literally because you are Black, it doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is. It doesn't matter what your education is. As a Black woman giving birth in the system, like, the system doesn't see you as a woman with 3 or 4 degrees.
Okay.
The system doesn't see you as a young mother or an older mother. The system doesn't see you as somebody who has a husband or doesn't have a husband. The system sees you as your name and whatever data points is on your paper.
And that makes sense in regards that we may think, oh, we're educated, we're more knowledgeable, we should be, we should know more, we should have access to better facilities, we should this and that. Whereas, you can have access to the better facilities, but if those doctors are trained in that way, like we talked about earlier, to think they're stronger or to not trust you, things like that, then it's going to correlate. And that's why I'm an advocate. I say, when or if I have kids, like, I have a lot of friends that are nurses, nurse practitioners, things of that nature. And I'm going to have a doula postpartum and, was it post and after birth? I want it both times.
Pre and post,
Yeah. And what's it called? Post and what?
Pre and post. So
pre and post. That's what it is. I want to do both.
And postpartum.
Yeah, so I want one at both sides, but I also want to have those healthcare professionals that I know to have around me to be present as well, so that they know that, because some, they, like, I had a friend who ended up having a C-section, and she's in the medical field, and she, saw just the way that the nurses and the doctors were moving. She was like, I know something's wrong, but they're not telling me. And so she was able to speak up for herself and said, tell me exactly what is happening, so that if I need to have a C-section, it's not an emergency C-section. And so she advocated for herself, and they told her, and she ended up having a C-section, but she was able to basically, do it before she was in an emergency situation. And it's because of her knowledge of knowing certain things that I don't know anything about medicine in that capacity. But it would help if I have a friend there who's aware, because the nurse may not be upfront with me, or have a doctor that, whatever the case may be. So
you also, your grandparents, like I have a grandmother that is from the West Indies, and I have a grandmother that's American, and both of them have all these things that they tell you, and a lot of them have been the same, that when you give birth to a child, you don't need to walk on the floor barefoot, walk on cold tile barefoot. You don't need to. They think that it is absurd how women have to go back to work within 6 weeks. They think you need to be at home from 3 to 6 months. And my West Indian grandma was like, you're an open wound. Anything could happen to you in that period of time. Just like when Mika was saying, all the way up into a year, my West Indian grandma would really like you to stay home for that whole year. Like even going out, like she don't even want you to go to the doctor, but if you have to go to the doctor, that's the only thing she wants you to do. And like back in the day, that's how they did everything. But now everything is so fast. They want you back on your foot, back working, stuff like that. And both of them have, and I think they have put things in place that, because this happened back then as well. And again, it wasn't on the forefront, but they have all these different, superstitions or things that they think have worked, that they feel like you should abide by when it comes to having kids.
Yeah, their own traditions that they've created.
Yeah.
And Kiki, what you're saying, so as a doula, we not only look at those things, but within our larger systems, that literally is what people say, okay, that's a cultural reference.
Right.
So,
or they think that a doula too is, may not be related, but sometimes people think a doula is only for rich people.
No, once again, I'm a doula. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, trained to be a full spectrum doula. It's not for rich people. And midwifery and like the whole history of doula, like, it wasn't even a rich people. You think Black people could go to a hospital back then?
It was for the people who didn't have access to have a proper.
So they had to create their own.
You had to give birth in your own communities. You had to, Big Ma had to stop her work in the field and come help, the young woman give birth, and then go back to the field. Like, it was because we had to do for ourselves. But then what you also noticed was when it started being used against us was when it was, okay, in order to birth the baby, here are the rules, and here's the school you need to go to. And Black people couldn't afford to go to those. And then for the Black people that lived in rural areas, you couldn't make it to a hospital. It was too far away. So it was really the system, once again, being used against us to start to wean out and impact our own reproductive systems, in which we had in place our own internal system to help us give healthy births. Because it's like you were saying, Kiki, Big Ma even then was, okay, I know Master might want you to go back into the field, but we're going to try our best to prolong the time frame we got for you have to get back up. When you come on down a few more generations, it was, baby, I know the job saying they need you back, but I'm going to need you to figure out how to tell them, like,
you need to stay home.
You need to stay home. Including with going to church. That pastor don't need you there, baby.
Right.
Before church was online,
right.
Bring you notes.
I was going to say, 2020, you better pull up that YouTube link.
Yeah.
Mount Zion anywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, literally, it's been going, what you're saying is important. And, like, I was saying, like, as a doula, we don't just see it as a cultural reference, but when we're looking at our clients, that is something we take into account. Like, okay, what is your family history? What does your family generally do? Because also as doulas in the postpartum period, when you go in and you're helping a mom to, you know, be able to not only advocate for herself, but basically help with that transition into motherhood, and also making sure she's getting rest, knowing the proper ways to breastfeed, what does latching look like. If she has a family like the one you're talking about, you had Kiki, then you know the family's doing that.
Yeah.
So she has a whole support system.
Yep.
So what you're doing really is going in and just checking. Okay, do you need anything? Because like, do you need a moment of breath air? Because you probably got people telling you never to leave this bed. So then how do I advocate for you to at least be able to walk out onto the balcony?
Yeah.
You know, like those types of things. And how that is important in reference to what we was talking about with, you know, the numbers and the mortality rate for African American women. In a lot of ways, not only is it that the system is impacting us, but also society, because when you look at a lot of the things that we don't do the same things culturally that used to actually serve as protective factors for us. Whether it's because we can't, or because at some point it was, oh, this isn't cool, or if I continue to do this, I'm seen as somebody who isn't of, you know, of value, or doesn't have the wealth that I need. So I'm going to prove to have, you know, the wealth, and I'm going to take another system or do another route, not understanding that what grandma and mama did not only served them, but also is the reason why we still here.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think that this comes down to, as the many forms of protection that the Black woman need, this goes back to what we said earlier. You have to educate yourselves. You have to understand why these traditions and rituals are in place, why our culture behaves in a certain way when it comes to these things, but also getting out of that antiquated way of thinking that, you know, that I'm just going to go in and have this baby and everything's going to be fine. No, you have to go in prepared with the knowledge, and you also have to go in prepared with before you even go in to give birth, because things like we said, like a doula or a midwife, knowing that you have access to those things, and that can be the difference between life and death in some instances, to have somebody there to advocate for you in that way when you can't advocate for yourself, because ultimately childbirth can be it can cause PTSD. It can be a traumatic experience. You don't know, people suffer, and that's a very real thing that absolutely people have to just be knowledgeable of and educated on. So again, everything that you said was so informative in that moment, Mika, in regards to that information. And I think we just have to continue to educate ourselves so that we can remain protected. Now, I want to say this, you know, I read this quote on, I think it was Variety, some magazine online, and it said, when Black husbands, fathers, sons, and neighbors fall victim to law enforcement, often Black wives, daughters, mothers, and girlfriends pick up the pieces. They must keep families together, manage the community's collective grief, and lead the resistance with little acknowledgement of their own mental and physical well-being or safety. Sometimes the weight is too much to bear. So how do we protect ourselves in the midst of having to protect everybody else with this? Like, what is that? And that's the question that was posed at the end of it. But what do you all think about that?
I think you have to constantly, because naturally you're going to do what it takes to get it done. But you have to have an awareness, like, I'm doing too much, or I need to check, like, this is like you need to have a personal check, a personal awareness, because your natural instinct is to do it. It's to just get it done. Let me do this. Let me do what I need to do to get back on track. Like, that's what it is. So you have to check yourself. And again, that therapy come in. You have to go and talk to somebody. If you don't know how to do it yourself, talk to somebody who could help you not take on all these tasks that you really can't handle.
Absolutely. You cannot be everything for everybody and not be everything for yourself.
Right. Check your piece. Check where your piece at. Like, you know, your piece from your peace of mind. Check where that is. Yeah.
I love it. What do you think about that, Tori? What do you think about that quote?
Yeah, I agree with everything. In terms of, like, check your piece, like the cliche kind of goes, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to just make sure and do the due diligence and make sure you're okay. So you can follow through, because I think a lot of people do. You are fulfilled you are fulfilled. What am I trying to say? I'm stuttering. You are fulfilled out of helping other people or doing what you can or getting things done. But at the same time, if you're not okay mentally, physically, emotionally, there is no way you'll be able to give your 100% on getting things
effective.
Done. Yes. It's absolutely no way you can be that effective, that productive when it's not okay. So you have to have that self-awareness, as she was saying.
Yeah.
just get with yourself and be honest. Like some people are like, oh, I'm okay. And it's like, girl, if you sit down in quiet peace for a minute, you realize you're really not.
You're really not okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Figure it out.
And from a therapist standpoint, Mika, what do you think about that?
I think that what they all touched on is true, and especially the fact of like, if you don't, the only way to know your capacity sometimes is once you've hit it. So to be able to have someone who you are able to speak with and actually walk you through the process of understanding what are the healthy ways to go about relieving that stress. Because for a lot of people, we bury ourselves in advocacy, or we bury ourselves in fixing others because we don't know how to do it for ourselves. But we've seen what it looks like when people take care of other people, and we've been doing it already. So that's what we know to do. Like, yes, I lost a loved one and I'm feeling pain and I'm feeling sad, but I don't know how to give the compassion to me, so I'm going to give it to you because that's what I know to do. Or I'm going to bury myself in my children because I know that's what to do. And sometimes people don't even know how to accept the help themselves. So also that piece of working with somebody who can serve as a non-biased party, but also like show you what compassion looks like in a non-invasive way. And when I say that, your therapist isn't going to hug you. They ain't going to continually tell you like, I understand. Like, it's somebody who's really, if you need the validation, gonna give you the validation, gonna come with the logic as well to like help you think through some things, but also encourage you in ways that are healthy for you and attainable for you to actually reach out to others or allow others to come into your space. And I think that is why therapy is important on that front, and also even the understanding of how do we work through the trauma and psychological, hurt that has come from this, and make sure that, especially for the younger children, that this cycle doesn't repeat itself. Because depending on what happened in that death, you got thoughts of revenge, you got thoughts of, okay, if that's what we doing, I'm a revenge in the sense I'm either gonna take one of yours out, or I'm gonna grow up and do exactly what my dad did, and then I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. So just there are so many levels to that of how sitting with a therapist can help you heal, so that when you heal, therefore the people around you are healing, but also you're not the one doing the healing.
Right. And you're not trying to fix and heal everybody else as well. Because it's almost like a trickle down effect. I think sometimes if people see mama getting help, that it must be okay, or my sister getting help, I can get help too. And then also we go back again to that education piece. I may be able to bring back some tools to the household that can help everybody. At the end of the day, we're not all in here just trying to suffer through it, or just thinking putting on a t-shirt gonna make it all go away, because little man got killed, so I think that's another way that we have to view it. Now, this is something that I think I read, or I might have just made it up in my mind because I'm always thinking. And we're talking about the protection of the Black woman, and I keep saying that just to remind the listeners. But someone posed a question: why do you all think the outcry for George Floyd has been louder than the outcry for Breonna Taylor?
I think that because the whole of America watched it happen, I think it was something that everybody could relate to. Like when he hollered out for his mom, every mom across America felt it. Black, white, they felt it. With Breonna Taylor, we didn't see it. We didn't visually see it. So we heard about it. We keep hearing about it, but we didn't see it. It's a difference when you actually see it than when you just hearing about it.
Yes.
So
I agree.
So I think that's why you got more supporters with something that they saw versus something that they didn't see.
Right. And to piggyback off of the actual scene, we literally saw George Floyd
take his last breath. Yes.
And almost in real time, whereas Breonna Taylor's situation came out like maybe 2 weeks after.
Well, hers had been out, but it was just like it wasn't a lot of
it wasn't publicized. And I think the story, first of all, the storyline behind her story is so tragically just
wrong on so many levels.
Just so wrong. So, I mean, the fact that they tried to pinpoint it on her boyfriend. So that storyline was out for a long time. So many people thought that, okay, maybe her boyfriend is either a drug dealer or some type of criminal. Maybe they were after her and she was just kind of like an innocent bystander. When in fact that wasn't the case. And once the truth came out about that, that's when it blew up. Like, oh, so this girl literally was killed for absolutely no reason. And not to say if her boyfriend was a criminal, that would have been a reason. But that would have at least made it logical as to why they were even there. But now that that's not even a factor, it's kind of like, okay, so y'all literally just busted up in somebody's house. Was at the absolute wrong address. Like that was not even the address you were supposed to be at. There was no mix-ups or anything like that. Like y'all were at the absolute wrong address, and you killed this girl. And that's what the blow-up came about. And then I hate to say it, and I'll speak for myself personally because I don't want to speak about, our people as a whole. But I'm pretty sure some people can relate in terms of like some situations, like when things like that happen, I read about what may have happened. I may read one article, and then after that, I can't get so wrapped up in it because it literally would make me sad and make me paranoid. And so I have to be honest with myself because I've had this conversation with close friends before that in certain instances, I feel almost hopeless because it's like, what do you do? So I think a lot of with her situation was not only in the beginning was it so many questionable things going on, but it was more so like, okay, George Floyd was moving a little faster. The police, they were at least investigating before they arrested him. And in terms of her, they haven't even they out here chilling.
Living their best life.
Enjoying Sunday dinner with their family. So at some point, it's like, okay, we literally, there were protests on protests that were specifically for Breonna's situation. And many people wrote in to the senator, the governor,
still writing in,
but he's still writing in, and it's like still nothing is done. So like it's like what can you do? So it's almost like I don't want to say a defense mechanism, but almost like, well, let me give attention to the situation that is moving because this one, it's nothing being done, and it's a really even now I feel some type of way because it's kind of like what do you do in cases like that? And it may be an underlying sexist root to it as well with her being young. Not only young, but just being a Black female, the attention may be a little bit different because I think we're so conditioned to seeing Black men die in that way to where our anger hits a little differently when that happens too.
I think what's even more disgusting about Breonna Taylor's situation is that when the mom got wind of what was going on, and the boyfriend called the mom and she came, is that they took this lady on a
goose chase.
They told her that she was at the hospital. It wasn't a mistake. It was intentional that y'all sent this lady to the hospital in this devastated state that she's in to go and find her child when her child wasn't even at the hospital. And y'all knew she wasn't at the hospital, but you basically giving yourself time to come up with what you need to come up with. So that's the most, if they're not guilty for anything else, they are guilty for that. So for sending that lady and being insensitive, because at that point you decided that, no, we got to cover this up. That's crazy to me.
And that's where I well, this is kind of off subject. That's where I teeter totter is this are we really doing mental evaluations on the people that we're inducting into the police force? Because it's kind of like, what type of person? And you
all of them, because it was
kill someone, literally kill someone. Let's even take away the race factor. We went up in there, we killed a woman. Then we get back in our cop car. No, after we realize we are at the wrong place, not just the wrong time. You're at the wrong place, and you literally killed someone. You get in the car to say, oh, her boyfriend's here. We're just gonna say her boyfriend killed. Our body cams are on, our car cam is on, but we just gonna write it up in the report. That's when it comes to the fact
disrespect.
Yeah. And her situation was just so loud to me because it was kind of like we know it's a systematic thing, but this to me was the most blanket situation where there should have been serious investigation into all police departments at that point, because the fact that they sat in the car and decided to come up with this plan, we're gonna tell them that the boyfriend was doing this and he shot at us, all this situation, and then we're gonna tell them that he shot her, he was the bullet. It was so many factors that would go into the investigation of her death that would pull out the lies that you still wanted to tell these lies and knew you would get away with it. that's why I feel like if nobody else's situation was like, okay, we need to do a full systematic breakdown of what's going on, that right there should have been it, because these police officers deliberately went back to their car, made this plan, and they didn't really care about how messy, how junky it was, because the truth has come out. They didn't care. They knew all they needed was a store and they would get away with it. Why why was that okay? Like, logically, in your mind as a person, or just systematically, you went back to your police department knowing you would get away with that. Like, who made that okay?
Yep.
The world we live in, society has made it okay, unfortunately, but it's like our police systems at this point, because if you have no morals, no values, no ethics, it's clear they don't. Why are you all even able to operate in this capacity? So it's one of those things. Were you going to say something, Mika?
Yeah. So to the point of why George Floyd may be louder than Breonna Taylor. So when we take a look, Sandra Bland and other women in our past, including the trans women that have passed or were murdered. Let's quit saying past. That makes it nice. That were murdered. Our community does give an outcry, but it doesn't seem to last nearly as long as the outcry for our men. It doesn't. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So when we look at when George Floyd's murder happened, and it was on camera, it was hard to stomach. Like it just was. It was like I can't do this.
I still have.
And we had just watched the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. So take that into account. Now, T Baby was saying, we didn't see Breonna Taylor's murder, but we saw these two men dying, and we were like, enough is enough. Like, something gotta happen, and this gotta happen now, because I can't see another one of these videos. I can't. And the year is just starting. Like, we got all this crap. You telling me I gotta stay in my house, and then I find out if I leave my house, I might die. Like, I can't even take the step.
And not from COVID. You might die, but not from COVID.
Yeah, like COVID already a thing, and now I can't even. What was he doing? He was shopping. I can't even go to the grocery store. Hey. Come on now. So I think it was that sense of like, we just saw a video. This video just came out. Something's got to happen. It's got to happen now. Also, George Floyd has some big names in his camp.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not aware of who all was in Breonna Taylor's camp, but George Floyd has some big names in his camp from day one. Not people that decided to come on after the fact, but since day one.
And just on social media either, like real life doesn't work.
So I feel like that helped and is helping his cause stay alive. And I feel like too, a lot of things are being added to the camp, like the movement for Elijah, and his death. Like, a lot of people are being murdered and it's coming to the light, but they're also getting put under the umbrella of the George Floyd movement.
Right.
It's like, but it's not George Floyd, it's other deaths, but it's like George Floyd was how this movement started, so to speak. So we're just gonna add on to that. I think
go ahead.
Sorry. No, that was it. I was just gonna say I think that's also why his name is maybe on the forefront and hers not as much. But people are still speaking about Breonna Taylor, but it's like you said, like, which one of these are seeming to actually move? Because the one that's not moving, like, we know it exists, but also if there is one moving, can we afford not to continue to move that one? Because we can afford for them both to stop.
Yeah.
Were you about to say something?
Just that by the time George Floyd incident happened, like Nika was saying, like, it was event after event after event. Like, it was Ahmaud, it was Elijah, and then by the time George came and we actually seen George, and then you think about everything that happened the weeks before, I think people just had enough. Well, I know Black people had enough by the time they saw George as well. So not only did we see the whole thing, but we had enough of everything else.
Yeah, we were over it. It's kind of like back when who was it? Yes. Rodney King. When those riots happened, it was back like so back. Much was happening with the LAPD back to back. It's like we are been fed up, but this is the breaking point. But I do think even though the outcry is louder, it's gonna help everybody, because if we can get justice for George, it's gonna set the precedent for so many other things for us. So I think we will still see some wins, and I'm just glad that people are still out fighting the good fight for both of them, and hopefully, we can get the justice that we need and the justice that they deserve.
Yeah.
So I do want to kind of, do a different wrap up instead of the normal resolution, because we talked a lot about the different ways that we need to see change. I want to ask this question of you ladies, and I want everybody to answer. Do you all think that the world would ever be ready for a Black female president of the United States?
You're gonna ask. I don't know how I knew.
You go first.
Define ready. Like let's be clear, and I tell people this, like, because I don't want to say for whatever reason, but a lot of our friends look at me and Mel, and they'll come to us and like, what made y'all know y'all was ready for marriage? And are you ready? But it's like something you can never be ready for something you've never experienced.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing you can be knowledgeable of is the influence and the power that would put you in. And I believe as a Black woman as a president. And even at this point, I believe Joe Biden's only choice is to choose a Black woman as the vice president. So, to be on his ticket, but not to get too far into that, I don't think the country would be ready per se.
Or rather, you could say, do you think it would ever happen? Because it's like they say that with being a mom, like you're never really ready until the baby gets here. Do you think the country would ever be open or accept that, or do you think it will ever happen?
I think people will be open to it. If it will ever happen, I don't think it will take time. Maybe not even 2024, possibly 2030 or what's 2028. It's certain things. I think Black women right now we're embarking upon our sweet spot. A lot of people are not only knowing the power that we have, they're acknowledging it. And we are at a place where we are putting it on the forefront. There's no more sitting down, quiet. I'm going to be behind the scenes. I'm going to write your speech. I'm going to write these policies and you be the politician that brings it forward. I think now we're in a beautiful position to where we're running for those positions, these political positions. We're speaking out as business owners and we're making our position in America known. So I think in due time, I don't know if we'll ever be ready, but I think it could happen, and it will happen.
Okay.
I just think in due time, but I don't think the country will ever be ready for something they never intended to happen.
Agree. I agree with Tori. I don't know if I'm answering if they will be ready, but I think the opportunity will have to present itself for them to be able to do it. Because even when you think about Obama, like they really
didn't want it.
Right. They gave him a chance, but then they wanted control. They almost wanted, hey, I'm gonna put you in here for face value, but I'm about to control everything you do, and they practically control. So to say they ready, to me, you ready when you can let them actually show what they could do without your interference or without you fighting with them at every decision that they make. So I think the opportunity will have to present itself, to answer your question. And and it would have to be, they would have to have a Senate and a House of Republic that equally supports that presidency to show that they're ready for it.
I think to state, will we be ready? Possibly, but I don't think in our lifetime. I think we would have to. It's like Tori and Kiki were saying, we'd have to show that we're ready. That means that we have to have systems that support Black women.
Yep.
That means that the feminist movement has to be truly, encompassing of, advocating for Black women. I'm sorry. There's a lot of things that we would have to call out before that could be able to happen. Because if a Black woman was to run, that means she has to have support. And that also means once she's in office, though, the systems that she's advocating for have to be an advocation for the people that look like her.
Okay.
And right now, that would not be the case. Also, that means that, and I'm just being completely honest, with everything that has been happening politically lately for us and the people who have held that seat before, she's going to have to be have proven almost dang near the Virgin Mary with them politics. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they gon' drill her whole past down to who her parents were. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be hard.
She couldn't have smoked a cigarette
exactly
and without them knowing. Yeah, she used to smoke when she was this and that. Yeah, no.
It's gonna go from we need to give grace and only God can judge to how you gonna make laws about something that you just we know back in
that you did
and you said Yeah. So I don't know, Shana. That the verbiage on that question, man. In order for the United States to be ready,
that's a whole
for
nother discussion.
Because it's
like ready, define ready.
Because they weren't ready when they got a president that was black.
Yeah.
And even then it was funny because it was well, he's not black, what color is his mom?
Right.
And any other time it's funny because any other time it's like, okay, well, if somebody got some has a white parent, that's kind of their way of saying like, well, it's okay because they're not completely black.
Right.
But y'all was ready to crucify on that note.
Absolutely. So yeah, it was just.
So
no, go ahead.
oh, sorry. No, it's fine.
No, I was just saying it was a devil's advocate kind of question. Yeah. I'm not quite ready to run for president. I just wanted to poll the audience, to see what everybody would think and to end on a light note. So definitely give yourselves a round of applause again. Another amazing episode. As I said before, this is a conversation we may even come back to for a part 3 next season, because I just think there are so many elements and we learn so much. I know I learned so much just in even sitting here talking with you ladies. And it's so great for our listeners to just know that they can be empowered as well if we are all open to it and that we start to take the necessary changes. So again, thank you to you ladies for coming on. Your opinions are always valued and appreciated. And we'll be right back with the Montana
Thank
Minute.
you. Bye.
And now this brings us to the Montana Minute. The main thing that I want to say is I hope that you took the time to listen to episode number 1 regarding this conversation and that you absolutely enjoyed part 2 of this conversation. As I've stated before, it's a continued conversation that we must continue to have. And it's one that you must continue to tap into your resources and tap into your people around you to see how can they engage in the conversation. But not only how can they engage in the conversation, how can they engage in taking action? In order for Black women to be protected, or women at all to be protected, it takes for us to wrap our arms around each other and to encourage those around us to do the same. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we'll be back next time. And in the meantime, we leave you to decide always to be single or not to be. That is the question. Signing off, yours truly, Shanna Montana.